All right.
Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
So what is up? So glad you could join us. Monday Night Football, a fantastic afternoon of baseball. Tigers are going to be in the playoffs. I mean, there's so much to to be excited about and look forward to. My pal Matt Shepard with us, but pal, I would be remiss if I did not bring this up. It just came down just a few minutes ago. One of the most polarizing sports figures ever, Pete Rose, passed away at the age of 83. And I think for the younger generation,
83? He was 83. Wow.
Yep. Isn't that amazing? I think for the younger generation, Shep, they know about the drama. They know about the suspensions. You and I were fortunate enough to see Pete Rose play. And I know everybody, the hit king, okay, but the way that he played the game and to I guess make it easier perhaps for people around here to understand, I don't know, he kind of reminded me of the way that Gibby played the game. You know, just hard nose. I'm coming at you. I'm going to run. What do I have to do to win? He was, beyond a shadow of a doubt, a phenomenal baseball player.
Sean, I think he's an underrated player. I think Hank Aaron is an underrated player. I think Stan Musial is an underrated player. We can look at I think he played 17 years, or maybe he played longer than that, Sean. He was, you're right. He was, for us, actually, he was 17 All-Stars. He was the hit king, right? 4,256, I believe. But it's the way he went about his business. So I agree with you. Isn't it interesting that how many times have you and Jack been at a game? I've been at a game and we hear people complaining that guys aren't running things out.
Yep.
It's an automatic out on a ground ball to third or short or whatever. Pete Rose didn't do that. Pete Rose ran through the bag on a regular basis. That's why they called him Charlie Hustle. He was a badass who played all out all the time. And yet, today I wonder how that would go over, Sean. I think some people would think, oh, you're trying to show people up.
Great call.
You know what I mean? And
great call.
You and I, when we were kids, we watched him. I loved it. That's how you're supposed to go about your business. That's how you do your job, whatever that job may be. So R.I.P. to Pete Rose, who played on some of the greatest teams this sport has ever had, right? The Big Red Machine.
That was when the term play to the whistle meant play to the whistle. Seriously. And I hate to, I know I'm sounding like my dad, but you know what? In this era of lovey-dovey, everybody hugging each other and being bras, and we're all in this together, if I'm playing against you, I'm going to crush you, right? I mean, that's right. That. I'm sorry, that's the way it should be. I've never felt any different from that. And I always respected that. And Shep, when Pete passes, we aren't doing it our due diligence if we don't talk about the other stuff. I so wanted to believe that Pete Rose didn't do what they said he did. And it wasn't just because I liked the way he played. He was so adamant about it for years. I mean, his denials were so fired up and passionate. I was like, no, there's no way he did that. I'm not joking, Shep. When he came out and he admitted, okay, for all these years, I've been lying. I felt, as cheesy as it sounds, crushed, betrayed, lost all respect for him, because it wasn't just the lies. It was, I mean, he was a professional liar. He was so adamant about all that stuff. But with that being said, Shep, I've always felt that Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame, and I'll tell you why. Pete Rose wasn't getting into the Hall of Fame as a manager. Pete Rose was getting into the Hall of Fame as a player. And I think what he did as a manager, wrong, no doubt about it. Nobody could say otherwise. I don't know. I thought that the hits spoke for themselves. I'm convinced he gets in one day, but didn't we all kind of know it wasn't going to be during his life?
Yeah, I don't think he will get in.
Really?
I just don't think that'll happen. Look, you've been in them as much as anybody. When you walk through those doors and you see the signs, I mean, it punches you in the face.
Yep.
You know you're not supposed to do it, okay?
Yep.
But you did it anyway. He was a more convincing liar, and he was a more convincing liar than Rafael Palmeiro was. And I'm not trying to take some moral high ground, but from a player perspective, he's one of the best hitters I've ever seen. I don't care if he didn't hit it for a lot of power. One of the best hitters I've ever seen. If anybody has not seen him play, watch how he slides into third base, where he is literally in the air. He is literally like Superman through the air and comes down and bangs his chest on the ground. He doesn't crawl. He doesn't slide. It is airborne stuff. It's the Dukes of Hazzard back in the day in the promo. All right. But I had a hard time coming to grips with this, but I did believe you've got to stand for something. And I just don't believe he belongs there. Just like I don't believe guys who took steroids belong in the Hall of Fame either. And I know that opens up a Pandora's box into greenies and a lot of other things that players were allegedly taking, with the coffee pot and all that other stuff. But that's just how I felt. That's not to take anything away from what he accomplished on the field of play, because I thought he was he's one of those guys I think a lot of people patterned their game after. I read a quote from Floyd Little over the weekend. You and I know who he is. A lot of people don't. So if they don't, he's a Hall of Fame running back for the Denver Broncos who, if you looked at his stats, you wouldn't think he was a Hall of Famer, but he was a really good running back. He said once Dick Butkus hit him so bad, so hard, that he felt like, his whole body liquefied. And Dick Butkus said to him, "Are you all right?" And Floyd Little said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And Dick Butkus said, "Then why are you in our huddle?" And he guided him back to the Denver Broncos huddle. The long roundabout answer to that is that Dick Butkus played the game the way we all wanted to see people play. Ray Nitschke, Tommy Nobis, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, guys like that, Mel Blount, Donnie Shell. Those guys played the game that you wanted to see them play. Pete Rose was that in baseball, and I wish more people would find it. My fear is a lot of people would say, some analysts would be in the booth, you got 62 games of this, Sean. I don't think you can keep playing that way. You're going to have to ease off a little bit.
Yeah,
Are you effing kidding me?
Right?
Ease off?
Yeah.
But that's what you get.
Ask Ray Fosse. If kids, look it up. Ray Fosse, Pete Rose All-Star Game. Look it up. You'll enjoy it. My buddy Tom in London, can't believe we have Tiger baseball in October. Raymond said sad. Tim said, when I was younger, we called it the Pete Rose slide. Mm-hmm. Ray, I saw Pete play once in the 70s at Tiger Stadium when the Reds came to town to play in what was referred to as the Sandlot game. Oh, interesting.
I don't remember that.
That's interesting. Shep, I want to get your take on what transpired with I still can't believe it. No over exaggeration. No, but I cannot believe we're having these conversations about this baseball team being in the playoffs, yet here they are. And once you're in, you know the routine as well as I do. And we know the success that the team has in game one. By the way, Tarek Skubal, the best pitcher in baseball, is on the mound in game one. I'll get Shep's thoughts in a second, but first let's talk about Legacy Partners. Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and yes, help save you some money at the same time. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you are probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, your business insurance needs. They got your back. Call them today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Shep, I saw one of those things today. One of my buddies sent me this.
One of those things today.
One of those things that are memes or whatever they're called, graphics.
Yeah.
Players on the 2024 Tigers with 150 plus hits, 75 plus RBI, 25 or more home run, 25 or more stolen bases. They are the first team in Major League history to make the playoffs in a 162 game season without having any player reach that mark. It's amazing. It's incredible. Now, we can't say enough about the job that the staff has done. And oh, by the way, timely hitting, give them some credit for that. But Shep, honestly, I'm still in a state of shock that this team was actually able to get into the playoff.
Well, somebody told me over the weekend, boy, the Tigers got some help. I said, can you tell me a team that didn't?
Right.
Because the Orioles were leading the East, but they had to fall apart a little bit in the second half, and the Yankees took advantage. Houston was 10 games back of Seattle in the AL West. Did they get some help? You're damn right they did. San Diego was nipping at LA's heels. Look, every team needs a little bit of help, okay, because you're not winning 162 games. Now, I would just caution everybody this. It's great that I feel good that Tarek Skubal's pitching too. Just remember, Framber Valdez is pitching for them.
Yeah, pretty good pitcher.
He's throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah.
He's got a World Series ring. He's won 2 World Series games. He's not going to be overwhelmed. This is not going to be one of those situations where, oh my gosh, how are we going to handle it? I would ask you this. Let's say, and Tiger fans should be confident. They should be. I mean, look, they played the best ball of anybody since August 11th. Houston has played, I think, the best ball since the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But anyway, I would ask you this. Reverse the roles for a minute. If the Tigers had done what Houston has done, win 2 World Series, go to 3, and they had guys like Alex Bregman with 2 World Series rings, Jose Altuve with 2 World Series rings, Framber Valdez, as I mentioned, Yordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena was the MVP, and people are saying, I don't respect them. I don't think they're that good. I think I want you to think about how Detroiters would feel. I think it's ridiculous that we put that proverbial cart before the horse when this team, even though they only have a couple more wins than Detroit during the regular season, they have played some decent ball as of late. They've won a couple of games in a row. I mentioned the number of wins or the best record since the All-Star break. I think we got to be, we can be excited. I would not be counting our good fortunes before you actually take place.
I'm terrified of all 3 of their top 3 pitchers, and that Verlander guy is not in their top 3. Hunter Brown, local guy, pitched at Wayne State.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Kelly's done such a good job there. It's
insane. Awesome job. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Blanco. They're the 3 guys that they're going to throw out there. But then again, you have, Skubal, Brisky, and Brisky. So, and Brisky's been practicing witchcraft for the past. So, why don't you just start Brisky all 3 games and we'll call it a series, right? Who'd you rather have on the mound, Brisky or Skubal, right? No, but all jokes aside, hey, Shep, listen, it's been magical. You and I think this is what we're alike in this regard. We have a job to. I think the Astros are a better team. I think the Astros are going to win the series. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I honestly, I hope I'm wrong. It would be so much fun to see a game back at Comerica Park. I like the Astros lineup better. I think they're deeper from a pitching standpoint. How much longer can this happen? And you mentioned help. Not enough is being said about just the utter collapse that the Minnesota Twins had.
Right.
They were 70-53 in the beginning of August. 70-53. They finished 12-27. Think about
really. Oh my goodness.
12-27. They finished 12-27.
Yeah. Do you think Detroit missed an opportunity to get the 2 seed in the wild card? Or are we just so happy that they're in the playoffs for the first time in 10 years, it doesn't really matter? Because, look, instead of playing Houston, you're playing Baltimore. You beat Baltimore 4 out of 6. Houston beat you 4 out of 6. Baltimore's kind of banged up from a pitching standpoint. They've got, I think, a better lineup than even Houston. But I wonder how people feel about that a little bit.
No, it's a good. My buddy Mike said tomorrow is a 1-0 game. I don't know who wins, but that's going to be the score. Lefties won't hit Valdez, and the Tigers' righties are ass. Wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah. You
say 1-0, and I think of Mike Napoli in 2013 against JV. You son of a bitch.
I know, but he's the kind of guy you'd like on your team. I was thinking about this. As much as I caution people, and I think for good reason, we also have to remind ourselves of this. These young guys for the Tigers had never been a playoff stretch. They've never been in such important games in late September. Did they fold? Did they look meek? Did they look worried? Did they look overwhelmed, scared, frustrated, or intimidated? Hell no.
No.
So why would it be any different tomorrow in Houston? Those are the things that I think about. I try to think of one argument and then how you counter it, because sports, sometimes there is no logic. Otherwise, the Tigers would not be in the position they're in, right?
No, it's one thing I know we were talking about when we did the baseball show last week, Shep, is there's something to be said for that too young and dumb to understand that they don't understand. Like I sometimes it happens, man. Sometimes it's okay, whatever. Nobody expected us to be here anyway.
Right.
And there they are. Monday Night Football, then Tuesday afternoon playoff baseball. Can't wait for it. Shep, are you our generation? It was funny. I had a conversation with some of my friends about this. You and I grew up in a generation where I used to love coming home from school and there was an afternoon game on. Are you kidding me? Now, it wasn't more often than not 2:30 in the afternoon, but I can't tell you how many times I'd race home from school and a game started at 3 or a game started at 4. Yeah. I know so many Tiger fans are bitching about it. If I was in school or maybe stuck at work, that would be one thing. I love the afternoon playoff.
I do too, Sean. I think it gives you something to look forward to. It takes you right up into dinner time. You could talk about it with your family the rest of the night, and then you look forward to another one tomorrow. Look, this is old guy, but WGN used to carry the Cubs. I was never a Cubs guy, but I understood why so many people did like them, because that's the one game you could get, because the Tigers might have been on, I think in 1984, I don't know, maybe 40 times on Channel 4 or local television. So anytime you got something like that where you could actually watch it, because like you, I'm sure, I'd watch it, then I'm outside. I want to play it. I want to do it as soon as I'm done watching it. Try to implement exactly what I was just watching for the last 2.5 hours.
There are so many memories I remember vividly. And Shep, I'm sure you remember this game. It was the Dodgers and the Expos in '81. And Rick Monday hit a home run in the 9th inning to beat the Expos. And as the good Lord is my witness, my late father did not swear much. He did not swear much, okay? I just remember him going, Rick bleeping Monday, but he didn't say bleeping. And I just sat there going, did he just swear? And for good measure, he had to say it again. Rick bleeping Monday. That's how you lose. Rick bleeping Monday. And then he'd hear me giggling. He'd go, shut up your mouth. Don't start with me. And I'd go, Rick bleeping Monday.
And then your mom would pull a Christmas Story scene and call, you know who he heard it from? He heard it from this kid.
Right. I know, but I mean, those are the memories. Like you remember stuff like that, man. And I think people forget. When they knocked off the Yankees, that was a 4:00 start. The Maglio game was a 4:00 start in '06. And as Greg said, Tigers are playing with house money. 100%. Go do what you need to do.
You think that's true? You think they're playing with house money?
Yes. I can't believe they did this, Shep. There's nothing, and I'm a firm believer in, and I know you and I have had this conversation. Analytics do not tell the whole story. No matter how much Keith Law tries to tell you, analytics do not tell the whole story, okay? They don't. But more often than not, they paint you a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
And what the Tigers have done it kind of boggles the mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it does. The house money thing makes me think like when people use that phrase, it doesn't matter if they win or lose, and I think it does matter.
No,
And
yeah, if you're
for
there,
me,
win
the
game.
expectation. You used to say this all the time at DFN. Expectations change.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And my expectation before the first pitch of spring training game number 1 was that they'd win the division. My expectation August 10th would be that they would finish second to last in the division. My expectation last week was that they would finish with the number 2 wild card. And my expectation now, based on how they've played, and I know I've talked about how well Houston has played, is that they win a series. And I don't look at it like house money because I don't think you could talk about opportunities, you could talk about windows or doors closing and all this other stuff. You've made a historic run. Don't be satisfied with it. It's okay to expect a little bit more, I think. That's my belief.
You know my feeling, man. These people that again, that linear thought that, well, if this happens this year, that means that this is going to happen next year. It just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, I've seen it. I always use the 06 Tigers as an example. We had to wait 5 more years for that team to make the playoffs, man.
Right.
And we never got a championship. We never got one, you know?
Sean, you and I covered the Lions in the early 90s. 92, right?
I wasn't covering yet, but I was all in as a fan.
Yep. They beat Dallas. Well, you helped me. I thought you covered them with me a little bit later on.
95.
Anyway, 95. So in the 90s. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, so in 92, if you remember, the theme around the National Football League, nationally, was that the Lions and the Cowboys were going to be the teams of the decade.
Yep.
You remember it. Okay.
Pat Summerall. That's what he said during the broadcast. I like my jaw dropped, right?
How'd that go?
Yeah. It's amazing how that works out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, let's talk about our friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. Shep and I are going to be done tonight long before kickoffs. Don't you worry about that, Pumpkin. We both want to be in front of the TV too. If you're ready to take care of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by the Handsome brothers right there with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life, and they have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one, so if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with a couple of experts. Reach out to my friends, the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. David, October tomorrow already crazy. It was just the draft. I know it just keeps flying. Shep, I do not understand for the life of me, and honest to God, I could hold up my phone and show you. I don't have one of those betting apps on my phone, nor will I ever have one of those betting apps. And I'm not sitting here trying to chastise anybody that does. Good for you. I hope you make some money off of it. Every week in this era of the National Football League, I am reminded of why I don't gamble. Honest to God, every single week there are things that happen that just make you go, huh? What? Who saw that coming? I mean, thus is the National Football League today, man. And when you think you got something figured out, hey, I bet a lot of people are all hot and heavy on the Vikings right now. Yeah. You know, don't be surprised if they don't get run next week. This is the National Football League.
I'm with you, man. I said already twice this year in those suicide pools, I'd be done, Sean.
Yeah.
Over. See ya. Just didn't see it. Even in games where a team's not coming out on top. Like I really, the Giants, of course, the Giants and Jets, they have 140,000 people over the weekend, didn't see a touchdown combined. But I'm looking at certain teams and I'm going, how are they even playing with that team?
Right.
Right. No one expected last weekend Carolina to beat Vegas, even though Vegas isn't that good. These things are crazy what's going on in the National Football League. And to that end, I think as Lions fans, it makes you go, hey, our nemesis, or at least the big kid on the block anyway, San Francisco has shown an awful lot of vulnerability. Let's get in that groove that we saw the Lions have a year ago, take ownership of this division and conference, and make somebody come to our house for that last game of an NFC championship game. That would be something special. Now, you got to beat teams along the way,
Right.
including Seattle tonight. We all know that. Who the hell thought Tampa would win in Detroit and then turn around and get pounded at home? Who thought Denver would reel off back-to-back wins? Who thought a team in the National Football League could have a -7 yards passing in the first half, a total of 6 yards
Mm-hmm.
in the first quarter, and 60 yards total, and win the game? Not me. It's crazy.
I was so excited for the Bills and Ravens last night, and you could have turned that game off 10 minutes into it. I got other things to do. I got other things to do tonight, right? I can make scripts. There are 100 different things. I don't need to watch this crap,
I was so excited for
Isn't that
certain
funny?
things. The same thing tonight, not just the Lions in Seattle. I'm excited for both games just because it's football. But yeah, I mean, suddenly you're going, oh man, I guess my night was planned out, and now I got to find something else to do. I've got plenty I could do. I just didn't expect doing it tonight.
Dave, I know I said this a couple weeks ago, but I'll repeat it. Dave, he said, what's both your take on the Vikings? For whatever reason, the Vikings have been on TV like every week. Shep, that looks like a good team right now at both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. I don't know how long it can last. I mean, they do have who I feel is the best wide receiver in the game, but I don't want to become what I detest. And this goes back to what you were talking about earlier. How would you like it if people were looking at the Lions and saying fraud, fraud, fraud when they got off to the start that they did last year? I think it's disrespectful. All I can tell you is what I've seen out of the Vikings, and they look damn legitimate.
I think they look
well-coached team. Seriously.
right. And well balanced. Like, I think the best teams in football are the teams that are well balanced. That's why I have no problem with the Lions throwing it and running it. I want to see a little bit of everything. I think Minnesota's done a really good job of that. And you got to. I know how people feel about Sam Darnold. As a pro, his numbers are backup level. Okay, and maybe that's what he is. I don't know, but I do know this year nobody's flawless. He's played as well as anybody in the National Football League at his position.
It's crazy.
And I know that's hard for people to swallow. I get it, okay? But he's played better than any Green Bay quarterback. He's played better than Jared Goff. He sure as hell played a lot better than Caleb Williams. I don't think he's played better than Jaden Daniels in the NFC. Because Jaden Daniels has been
how good does he look? It's frightening. Shep, it's frightening.
Sean, it's crazy. Now, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I did say prior to the draft, I think he's the better Q than Caleb Williams. 4 games doesn't mean that I've justified in saying that.
Sure.
Because Caleb Williams is going to be a good player too. But I think he got so much love because of Hard Knocks and, the hype machine that of being number one. And we forget that the guy who won the Heisman was pretty good too, right? At a pretty good program. And he's going to a pretty talented team. Williams got more weapons for sure, but Jaden Daniels has just been unbelievable on the ground and run and throwing the football. He's at 81+% completion percentage, Sean.
He is the exception to the rule that we talked about. For all the people going crazy about what the Bears might do and Caleb might do, he's looked like a rookie quarterback very often. Jaden Daniels has looked like a stud. Yes. He really has. And if you didn't watch a game last weekend, man, shame on you. Nick said tonight feels like a must win, even though clearly it's not, to keep up with Minnesota going into the bye. Detroit is so banged up. Ragnar out now. No Branch. You know what I think part of it is, Nick? And I'll just speak for me. And I remember when the schedule got announced, I told Blake this. Because I've seen Seattle do it to them the last few times they've played, and Geno Smith do it to them, I'm scared crapless. Prove to me that you can stop the unstoppable Geno Smith, and then maybe I can feel a little better. Shep?
Yeah, look, they're 3-0 for a reason. You got to give them a ton of credit. I know their first weekend win was nothing special, but Credit where credit is due, man. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from a team that's accomplished something, even though it's early in the season. I'm not a big believer in Geno Smith, but you know what? I wasn't 2 years ago either. And look what he did. So give him credit.
I'm not at all. I hope you could hear my sarcasm, and everybody else out there could hear my sarcasm when I said that. But that guy's lit up the Lions like he has. Go look at those numbers, like the games that they beat us. Geno Smith was crazy, and
I know, but then you like Nick brings up, Geno's junk. He has DK and Jax. Okay, who's the quarterback that doesn't have good receivers? Honestly, I mean, if that's the case, take a lot away from Dan Marino, who had the Duper and the Clayton, the Dolphins wide receivers. Take away from Terry Bradshaw, who had Stallworth and Swan. Take away from Joe Montana. Take away from Steve Young. Take away from Peyton Manning. Take away from Tom Brady. I mean, you could go on. You got to have good players, to win. And I'm not saying Geno Smith is a Pro Bowler. I'm not saying he's the best player in the conference or the best quarterback in the conference. Just I'm not going to take away from a guy who's done a nice job and turned around his career from a piece of crap in the Jets to a decent player in Seattle.
And Nick said, I'm a Seahawk fanboy. Nick, seriously, I don't give a shit about the Seahawks or Geno Smith. I just know that he, pardon my language, swear jar, I just know he's lit up the Lions a few times, which is mind-boggling to me. I mean, the whole, the Lions have a problem with a guy that can move. We saw that obviously with Fields, and Geno Smith was another one of those guys. Mr. Positive said, go Lions, 28-21.
Baker Mayfield, too.
Yep. No doubt. Hey, let's talk about Lindsay Broadwell. When it's time to get yourself a new house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Lindsay Broadwell, right there. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville, and she has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house, and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at Broadwell Homes. She will help you with everything from start to close. That's Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com.
Thanks, Lindsay, for being part of the Sean. Before we go,
yes,
we don't talk much Pistons or NBA, and I understand why. But I did go down to Pistons Media Day today.
Oh, yeah.
And Trajan Langdon spoke, and so did JB Bickerstaff. Now, you and I, neither one of us believe in winning press conferences, right? Matt Patricia won the press conference. Bob Quinn won the press conference. Matt Miller won the press conference.
Brady Hoke was the biggest win ever in a press conference, as far as I'm concerned.
It does not matter. What matters is from a general manager of the draft picks, the trades, the free agent signings, and how you put a roster together.
Yeah.
Coaching, are guys getting better? Are you making the right calls down the stretch? Are you taking timeouts when you should? Are you fouling guys? All those things, right? But I would just say this. First impression face-to-face, Trajan Langdon and JB Bickerstaff are really impressive. Really impressive. And I don't know if they're going to lead this team anywhere, but I can tell you that their mindset and their preaching, and I talked to a number of players about this too, what they preach is right on there. I mean, it's exactly what it's not just what you want to hear. It's what you have to hear. For them to say systematic and intentional, putting a roster together that is high on accountability. I think that's really important. They talked a lot about leadership and why they put together the team that they did, specifically with guys like Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway, bringing guys who have won, because the young guys don't know what it's like to win, and helping them nurture that. And on top of that, saying that they wanted to be here. I mean, JB Bickerstaff actually said, my plan was to take my family, move to Southern California, and take some time off. You and I wish we could do that. He got excited because Langdon, about his vision, and he wanted to have certain guys here. They've all said this. They recognize the feel that the Lions have, and they recognize the emotion and passion people have for the Tigers season and want to be part of that. I don't know if they will be, but I think it's pretty cool that they've recognized just how fanatic this town can be when teams are giving it their all. It's pretty cool.
By the way, Nick said, I'm Mr. Negative tonight. Sorry, not feeling it. Nick, I was talking about the Seahawk fan in the house, not you. But we've seen what Geno Smith can do against the Lions. That's part of the problem. Shep, what you just said reminds me of what I'm sure you saw what Jerry Reinsdorf did yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. After I got done being pissed at him and yelling F you if I were a Sox fan for like a half hour.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we all long for? Is for guys to come out and say, you are seeing what you're seeing. Because I think so many of us in society and certainly in the sporting world, and don't say anything, you had a front row seat with it with the Detroit Tigers for a few years. People love to tell you that you aren't seeing what you're seeing. They love it. And so to me, again, after I got done cursing his name and wishing bad things upon his home and all that stuff, I think I'd probably sit back and go, you know what? Dude was accountable. Dude came out and, did he say the obvious? Yeah, he did. But how often do they not say it? Or try to say, you aren't seeing what you're seeing. Oh, guys, the future's so rosy. You just have to look beyond the trees and you will see a beautiful land full of milk and honey and manna. And it's just like, no, quit feeding me crap.
You don't know what I know. Yeah, you
right.
don't know what I know. And let me educate you a little bit. No, there was none of that. You're right. Owners, it's funny. I was talking with somebody you and I both know today about ownership. And I know what the Gore's belief is because Nick just said, he doesn't care about the Pistons. It's probably because people don't see him there very often. And it's probably because they don't win, right? It's not like he hasn't spent money. It's not like he didn't try to go out and get a coach. Maybe the wrong decision, but he went out and got it. And I thought, and I said this earlier, I said, if people don't like him, but here's the one thing he does do. He hires people and let them do their job.
Yeah.
Now, he don't have the right people, and that's a problem. We covered the Fords. They cared. They just didn't know how to win. They didn't hire the right people. Finally, Sheila did, right? It takes that one guy. Actually, it takes more than that, but it takes a guy and to have a mesh with a coach where the vision and the type of person, the type of roster they want to build is so vital. It's the reason the Lions are so good right now, why other players want to play for the Lions, and why, The Athletic just came out with an article, Sean, where they listed 40 executives. They polled them and they said, give me the best team top to bottom. Owner, GM, coach. Who are the best teams? The Lions ranked 5th.
Amazing.
3 years ago, you and I would not have guessed that, right?
Never in a million years. No. I love what Nick said. Seattle's about to be unburdened from what has been. Okay, go Lions. Hey, can we talk about All About Catering? Can
I just say one thing?
Yeah.
That wins.
Yeah,
that wins.
That's why
right there. I'm out. After that.
Shep. All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. They took care of my family as well. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or call 586-731-1398 to get your event started. By the way, 27-24 Lions. How's that? Shep, how does that sound? That's what I'm going with.
Nick made my night. I don't care. I think the Lions cover the spread, and I'm excited that they're gonna improve. They're gonna improve to 4-1.
That they're gonna be unburdened. That's very important. All right, we got to get out of here. Enjoy the game. Shep, talk to you Thursday. See you guys.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.